Hi guys, my name is Neha and today I'm going to show you how I painted this pink cosmos flower with watercolors. So for a realistic painting, we always need a very accurate drawing. This line drawing will soon be available on my Patreon art channel as well. And I've just colored all the darker parts of my center with graphite pencil. The paper for this I'll be using is Arches cold pressed 140 pounds watercolor paper, and I have stretched it to a gator board. So first I'm going to lighten the sketch by using a kneadable eraser. So this will remove all our excess graphite and it will not mix with our watercolors. So I'm just rolling it over my entire drawing. And these are the colors I'll be using today for this project. So I'm starting with my center over here. I'll be giving a bright lemon yellow undertone to it. So with my number 3 brush and lemon yellow, this is from Sennelier. I'm going to go over my entire center. So this is going to create a beautiful bright underwash. And I'm just going to leave it for drying. So after this dries, I just apply Sennelier yellow deep to all the deeper yellow areas on the center. Carefully observing my reference picture and leaving all the yellow, bright yellow parts as it is. Now this is my quinacridone gold. I'll be going, and it's a very watery wash. I'll be going over all the central areas which are not very orangey in color, but again I'll be leaving a lot of bright yellow areas as well. Now let's color the darkest parts of the center. So this is warm sepia with my 0 number brush to get good control. So this is a creamy consistency of color, and I'm just imitating the shapes that I can see on the reference picture. So I went ahead and painted all the bright orange and the brown areas as well. So we'll leave that to dry, and I'm glazing my petal now with clean water and even glaze, carefully painting within the pencil boundaries as if you're applying paint. This is how it looks. An even glaze without any puddles or any dry area. So using my number 4 brush and Helios purple, this is from Sennelier, I start painting. The petal is wet with our water glaze. So we are doing a wet on wet technique here. Carefully going around those yellow areas of the center. Taking more pigment now. And just with the tip of my brush, I'm just going along that edge. I will not be painting the turned side of the petal now. So now with a clean damp brush, I'm just lifting off the areas which are lighter in color. Just revealing more light, and there is nothing on my brush now, and I'm just spreading that color into the lighter areas and lifting more. Applying a little bit more color. This is very, very light Helios purple. This is our first layer. I like it to keep it very light and transparent. So let's paint this petal also in a similar way. I am giving a clean water glaze, a very even glaze. And now with Helios purple again, I'm painting and leaving those shadow areas. We'll come back to it later. And also that white highlight, carefully leaving that as well. Just dragging whatever color is there in my brush into the lighter areas. And now I am just dropping opera rose into the more pinker areas of the petal. And this is rose madder lake, just creating those veins that I can see. And now with a clean damp brush, I'm just softening that edge. There is a nice white highlight on the right side of the petal over there. And even here, lifting some of the light back. So every time I'm just washing my brush and dabbing it on a towel and lifting it with a clean damp brush, the area which I want it very light. Cleaning all my edges, still lifting those areas to make those veins look more thinner. So I went ahead and finished all the other petals as well. And now I am lifting some of the areas which have become a little bit dirty, or some colors have gone into those whiter areas. This is my chisel blender brush, and I just wet it a bit and just wriggle on the surface which I want to clean and just remove it with tissue paper. So now I'll be painting these shadows. They have a nice hardline edge to it, so I am painting it separately. They are quite dark, so I'm glazing it with clean water first, and now I'm going to drop my Helios purple into it, working wet on wet. Dropping opera rose into the more pinker areas. I like to mix colors on the paper rather than the palette itself wherever possible. And now this is rose madeleine for the more intense reddish pink areas. This shadow area is going to become very dark, but we'll be using multiple layers to do that. Softening all the edges and just cleaning the hard line edge over here. So in the similar manner, I finish off all the shadow areas, and this is my image after the first layer. Now my first wash layer is completely dry, and this is the correct time to remove all your pencil lines. So I'm just going in with my regular eraser. You can even use a kneadable eraser, but just do it very gently and carefully. So now I'm giving a second layer to the center of this flower with all the colors that we have used previously: lemon yellows, oranges and browns, making it very intense. And now I'm just darkening all the shadow areas on the petals. So this is alizarin crimson, cerulean maroon and warm sepia. Try to make your darker areas as dark as possible. And now we are going in with second layer on all our petals. So I have glazed this petal with a clean water, and again going in with same colors, Helios purple, rose madder lake and opera rose, but this time it will be like more intense. The colors will be much more darker, but still they will be in milky consistency. I don't like to go dark very soon. Maybe I'll go with another third layer to darken some of the areas. Working wet on wet gives us a lot of time to blend all the colors, add more colors, and I've added some winds of violet for the shadowy areas and some pinks in our pinker areas to make it more bright, and rose madder lake for all the veins that I can see on the petal. Lifting it, lifting the areas, and always cleaning off my edges whenever I can, and just going over with rose madder lake for the veins. This is still my second layer and still that same water glaze that I had given before. Darkening this vein as well. Giving more details. So I went ahead and finished all the petals with the second layer and on some even the third layer, and now I'm starting the tiny stem over here. So I glazed it with water first and now applying lemon yellow plus sap green. And this is just neat sap green which I'll be using it for this shadow. And dropping in some lemon yellow onto the lighter parts to just brighten it up. And now I'm mixing cerulean green with sap green for our shadow areas. And I'm painting this with a number 2 brush. So after finishing first layer, I also come back to it and give another layer for the stem. And I went ahead and finished all the remaining parts of the flower. And with this, our painting is complete. I hope you enjoyed seeing the preview of this tutorial. This full-length tutorial with voiceover will soon be available on my Patreon website. Hope to see you there. Bye and see you in the next video.